Hey everybody, Playtendoguy here and welcome to my review of Injustice 2. Fighting games have always been content-packed titles, well that was until Street Fighter V came along and provided a rather limp experience. But with Injustice 2, the sequel to 2013's DC superhero beat-em-up, Injustice Gods Among Us, we have one of the most content-packed and best fighters of this generation. One of the biggest and best things about Injustice 2 is its story mode, which continues the narrative of the previous game, which has been kept alive thanks to the comic book series. The game picks up 5 years after the previous game and sees Batman trying to make amends for the damage that Superman did in the previous game. Well, that's until Brainiac arrives on the scene and starts causing trouble, and the game sees Batman and Superman trying to put their differences aside to stop a greater enemy. The story for a fighting game is actually very good. The town does get quite dark in places, but there's little bits of humour here and there to lighten up the mood. Like the previous game in Mortal Kombat X, the story mode sees you playing as a huge range of different characters over a 5 to 7 hour storyline. Each chapter you play is a different character and you continue the story from their point of view. For people who are unsure of who to play as, story mode is a great way to try out a huge range of characters. It's also worth noting that the story mode does offer a decent bit of replayability, as some chapters have different characters to fight and there's also 2 different ending chapters, so there's a little bit extra to come back to if you finish the game. As well as the lengthy story mode, single players should definitely try out Multiverse, which sees you fighting in different towers with different options such as messing around with the fighter's stats and the environment. Some of the Multiverse events can be a bit poorly balanced and some of them only allow access for high level players, but going through the Multiverse unlocks exclusive pieces of gear, loot, boxes, and various other extras. The Multiverse changes regularly as well, so there's always something new to play. Talking about loot boxes, probably the most interesting feature in Injustice 2 is the gear and character customization options. You unlock gear through loot boxes which can be bought via microtransactions, but thankfully you'll be earning loads and loads of loot boxes throughout normal play, so you should never have to buy them with real world money. Inside these boxes are new pieces of gear that allow you to customize your characters with new gear that improves stats and change the appearance of your characters. You can also unlock new skin colors, special moves and portraits for your online profile. There's an absolute cornucopia of stuff to unlock, and thankfully without too much effort. If you played the original game, then you'll be very much at home here with the combat, as it's mostly unchanged here. Battles do feel a bit faster than last time, but are not enough to make you change your playstyle. There's plenty of cool fighting mechanics here, like each character's superpowers, which some of them can be quite deep, the ability to throw pieces of the environment at your opponent, the meter burn moves, and the fun combo system that allows you to try and juggle your opponent to do a lot of damage. The opening tutorial does a very good job of teaching you the basics of the game, and you can always go back for a refresher anytime you want. Fighters normally live or die on the amount of fighters available to play as. In Injustice 2, the roster is packed full of DC superheroes to play as, with a staggering 28 fighters to choose from, ranging from well-known characters such as Batman, Robin, Superman, Wonder Woman and Green Arrow, to more obscure heroes like Captain Cold, Gorilla Grodd, Swamp Thing and Firestorm. Whilst the roster is great, there are some noticeable omissions here like Lex Luthor, Deathstroke, Batgirl and Martian Manhunter. And as for the stages the characters fight on, they're absolutely wonderful, filled with many traps and dangers, but arguably the best thing about them is the level transitions that sees you smacking your opponent into a new part of the stage. My only fault with the stages is that there isn't enough. There's only around 12 of them, and it would have been nice if there was a few more. Once you've exhausted the single player stuff, the online is always here and it's brilliant. The online includes your rank and casual matches and the always guaranteed a match really quickly. And it all runs very smoothly. King of the Hill mode also returns, and it's a fun esport type of mode which sees players taking turns trying to beat the current winner, aka the King of the Hill. NetherRealm Studios have never really been able to do faces that well. The original Injustice was a good example of this, but credits where credits due. Injustice 2 is an absolutely huge improvement over the original graphically. The level of detail here is impressive, whether it's the stages, the story mode cutscenes, or the superb facial animations. Injustice 2 is the best looking fighting game the studio has ever made. On the audio front, the game features a great selection of original moody tracks, and the voice acting features a great range of actors from the various animated TV series. Conclusion time now, and Injustice 2 is an absolutely superb fighting game with a huge list of fighters with a deep and engaging combat system. Its story mode is dark and a rather epic experience, and once you've done with that, you'll always be busy thanks to the ever-changing multiverse. You will always be unlocking stuff thanks to the generous loot box system, and tweaking your characters will become an addiction. Add in the online and there's no denying that Injustice 2 is this generation's best fighter, and one of the best games of the year. Injustice 2 gets a 9 out of 10 with a title of brilliant. Thank you for watching my review. Like, rate and subscribe, and until next time, happy gaming. Bye!